Good evening. This is the meeting of the Wareham Finance Committee. It's Wednesday, June 21st, 2023, 6:30 p.m., and we're in room 27 of Wareham Town Hall. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to call the roll.
We have Dominic Camarano, Tom Worthen, Gerald Stefanski, Julie Moran, Jody Smith, myself, Matthew Rose, and Norma Skokin. We have a quorum.
All right, and I just got a request from Jody to make a quick comment before we get started.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'd just like to acknowledge Bob White. I mean, it's been around for quite a while. Bob's been our cameraman for many years. Bob was one of the first people I met when I came down to Wareham through a veterans group, and he was a gentleman in every sense of the word, did so much for the town, and he decided to step down from WCTV, and I'd just like to, and I'm sure I can speak from all of us, wish Bob the best moving forward.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Great, absolutely great guy.
Well, professional, yeah. Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, George.
All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda, Finance Committee member matters. We don't have the minutes from May 18th yet. We'll bump that one to the next meeting. And as I believe everybody knows, we are not having the presentation by the Sewer Committee because they're not voting on the warrant articles until tomorrow. And so this will be on the agenda for next Wednesday, the 28th. So we're definitely having a meeting on the 28th.
Norma, sorry.
Yeah.
Will we get a report or whatever they're going to present before the meeting?
I'm gonna ask for it, yes. I mean, starting with, we'll, after, as soon as the articles are approved by the sewer commission, I'll get them out to all of you. I'll ask for them and get them out to all of
Yeah,
you.
in the same, I do assume these articles are gonna change.
I don't know that they're gonna change. I mean, we did sort of do one round, when the meeting ended up being canceled, but, since we
I'll
don't,
say-
they haven't voted yet, let's
Yeah,
just.
those will close next Tuesday.
Yes.
These are the ones that were for the previous meeting.
Right.
Right, but the
So I didn't know if
article,
they were gonna reword anything.
I assume the wording's gonna be the same, but I don't know that for sure. And I don't think anyone can know until after they vote tomorrow. So, as soon as I have those, I will distribute them to everybody to be considered next week. Unfortunately, that compresses our schedule in a way
That's what I was gonna
that
ask.
probably means we need to vote next week as well, if at all possible. Because otherwise, we have to meet on July 5th, and I'm assuming that's not great for people, it being a holiday the day before.
We should be able to vote.
I don't see why we can't,
It's
and
not
if everyone
like-
does a little
We're
homework.
kind of
Yeah.
expecting this. you know.
Yes, exactly.
If we have any questions, if they could come prepared.
Yes, I mean, and if you know you have some questions and you want to send them to me to let them know those are our concerns, that might be helpful.
Will they be present at our meeting?
Bernie will, for sure.
Okay, just Bert, okay.
I'm not sure anyone else will.
Guy won't be, you're not
Guy will
sure
not be
about
there.
Guy?
I don't know. I know Bernie will, but I don't know for sure who else.
Bernie's new too, I mean, Bernie's good, but he's still new, how much?
I would assume Jim will be there with them.
I would-
That's just an assumption.
Probably.
Consultants here?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is it,
Cause it's so much money, you
Is
know,
I
you
know.
need to, we need
I will-
to get
I will-
as much as we can to put our hands around it, is my opinion.
Yeah, I will urge them to bring all the supporting
Yeah, I think the
voices,
consultants would
et
be
cetera,
helpful.
that they can. I think that's important, but we don't have complete control over this. But yet, I think it's good to urge that.
So you said we might be more on the fifth, the fourth is what day of the week?
Tuesday, so it would be the day, I'd rather, if we can, if it's all possible, that we take care of this next week. Because we're also running into the crunch as far as preparing the report.
Yeah,
And when
right.
is the meeting, when is town?
24th, July 24th, Monday.
Okay.
And
It gives us a little time.
it gives us a little time, but with what we know about trying to get the report printed
Oh,
more
sure.
cost effectively.
Yeah.
I have a question out to the town moderator about what we really actually have to have in order to meet the requirements of having the report ready a week in advance, whether we have to have 100 copies or whether we can have it online and distribute some
Yeah, I don't
copies.
think it'll be highly attended, but it's my opinion.
It's hard to know.
Yeah.
I would
Still
say
gotta
this
be
one,
prepared though.
because it's, at least two of the articles are gonna be Swift speech, I would
Yeah.
say that we're probably gonna be a little bit busier than we think.
Yeah, I agree.
More so than we might
Right.
otherwise in the middle of the summer.
Agreed.
So that's where that stands right now. So that takes us into item C, which is the preparation for the meeting. I'm assuming that whatever our recommendation is, it's not gonna be too complicated to put it together. If that's the case, I may just write it up myself rather than ask everybody to pitch in. I might run it by people, before we go to print, but if nobody has an objection, I think that might be the easiest way.
Or just ask for their 2 cents.
Yeah,
that's all.
yeah, definitely, I
And
would.
then you can put it together.
I would-
You're
Happy to
good
weigh
enough to
in,
do that,
yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So we will have the meeting on the 28th, presumably be able to take care of all the business then. We will also, I will say, have a meeting, it looks like, jumping down to my discussion with the town administrator, I'm gonna start meeting with Derek once a week and trying to keep up with what's coming down the pike, and maybe therefore be better able to schedule things in advance and give everybody plenty of notice. But as you know, this is the end of the fiscal year, ends June 30th. We will possibly have some end-of-year transfers. If Derek can get everything together by next Wednesday, we'll consider them then. If not, we may need to have a meeting on July 12th. So, because it has to be done by the 15th. So, just be on notice that may be coming up. Any other questions about preparing for town meeting?
I do have one question. Besides the sewer articles and maybe the, the administrator's shortfalls, anything else?
Not that I know of, but
Okay.
that doesn't, the warrant doesn't close until Monday,
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
It could be a citizen's petition.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we, as it is right now, that's all we know of.
I
That's
think there's
right.
a street they wanna.
Has the state approved the method
The method,
of what they're proposing at Swift Speed?
not quite yet, no. Part of the,
Will they have it before?
my understanding is that part of the state requirement has been met, still waiting on DEP for final approval.
This is
That's
Danny Warren's proposal?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's my understanding of the status, and I don't think there's any way for us to know.
And I think we can definitely take a look at that one, but I think we need to hear what the rest of the sewer commission has to say. Because it might not even be, they might have, Danny Warren presented his
Yeah,
thing, but it might not be what they're presenting.
yeah, we just don't know until
Yeah,
after
we won't
tomorrow.
know until they,
So we don't, at this point, we don't really know how it's being received.
right,
Right.
Yeah.
right. But even if it's received, there's so many what-ifs on the Danny Warren proposal. They have to move the gas lines, and I don't think anyone's talked to them about moving the gas lines.
I think actually that is out there, but it's not
Yeah, but
finalized yet.
it's, and the other part of it is too, is what he's
Logistics.
talking is only part of the overall project, the entire project, not
Right.
everything.
So hopefully we'll have a lot more information next week, and everyone can ask these questions, and then we'll go from there.
And again, do we expect Bernie will appear with written information? Again, to
I would
give it
hope
to
so.
us in
I would
advance.
hope so.
Given that we do wanna help them
Right.
and vote next week.
Right,
I hope he can get this stuff in advance, he knows we like it.
yes, he should.
Danny Warren, he's done that presentation twice,
Right.
once down Swift Speech and once in front of. So if you go on the Wareham cable,
That's right.
Yes.
you
You
can
can-
see what he's doing.
Yeah, you can at least sort
Have
of
an
get
idea
a, get a,
of
yeah, get a
It's
little heads up.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I actually
For sewer, it's-
attended one
Yeah.
and watched the
He's
other
done it in
one.
other towns too.
Has
we-
he done it regularly?
No.
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
He's given the
He's
He's
presentation,
proposed, yes,
but we'd be the guinea pigs, we'd be the first ones.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah, and
thought.
I thought Danny had done it in another
Oh.
I
town.
think we're the guinea pigs.
We're the guinea pigs, it's
Okay.
even listed in the newspaper
Well,
like
he
that,
did the
so.
fiberglass, the epoxy before it's failed.
That
So,
wasn't his fault though.
All good
No.
questions to ask
And-
right, about next week. So
DEP
I would,
is the one that's going to take some time.
well, and yeah, ultimately they'll have the final word. But I prefer that we have this discussion after we have more information,
Agreed.
rather than speculate.
Yeah.
The sump pumps came out of the water.
All right, so,
gotcha.
the next item on the agenda is Finance Committee vacancies. I understand Tom Worthen has decided not to reapply.
I'm running for president.
All right, I thought you might.
I vote for you, Tom.
I would, we'll talk more about it next week, but I do appreciate all that you've done in your service to this committee.
You're my partner.
Absolutely.
Jerry has reapplied. He's, I guess, not quite as smart as Tom.
If he asked me to be vice president, I'm resigning.
Then you're resigning. But just stick with us through like fall town meeting at least, okay?
But you got a Churchill replacing us, for crying out
Okay,
loud.
so
What the
Tom, we're
heck?
gonna, there's certainly many roles awaiting you in this town, so
That's
don't
right.
go anywhere.
Yes. We do have one applicant who will appear before the appointing authority tomorrow, and I've sent on her information for you to look at. If anybody has any comments, please send them directly just to me. As I'm sure everyone probably knows, the appointing authority is Judith Whiteside as chair of the select board, Margaret Ishiara as the town moderator, and me as the committee chair. So we will be taking up Jerry and Heidi, and also I
Capital plan.
surprised to find that I also have to do the capital planning.
No more surprised than I was.
Okay, good, it wasn't just me. That makes me feel better. But I just learned last week that I also am responsible for that. So, like I said, any questions or comments, please just send them directly to me before 6 o'clock tomorrow.
I have one question. So with Tom going, how many vacancies?
We'll
vacancies
still
do we
have 2 vacancies.
And we have
One
one
applicant.
applicant.
Well, we'll have 3 total. We'll have 1 applicant. Assuming,
We have 2 now, and then Tom makes 3 vacancies.
correct.
Okay,
That's
Still
we
need 2
have
seats
one
to fill.
applicant.
so we still have at least 2 seats to
If we don't
fill.
fill those seats, we can still have a quorum.
We can, as long as 5 people show up.
5 is what we need.
That's
And
right.
we have how many on the board right now?
7.
Seven.
So, I have reached out to a couple of other people. I've gotten one careful consideration and then no, and one who's still considering. But if you have thoughts about good people to fill these spots, I would love to hear them. And I'm happy to sit down and talk to anyone who's, a potential member. So, and answer questions. So,
Can I just mention that on our website, we might wanna look at this, we have a party who's resigned that still appears.
I
as a
will follow
member.
up on that. I'm not sure what the status of that is, but I know it has come up.
Yeah, okay.
It's the select board office handles that, and there's been a lot of turnover there
Yeah, sure,
in the last few weeks.
Yeah, they're way behind.
yeah.
The new clerk started last week.
There's
But
a-
the new office personnel over there just started
Right.
last week, so.
Right.
I just got my license renewal, and, it ended April 30th, this is June, then I just got the new, even though it was voted on and everything, I just got the new certificate.
Yeah, we
so
have
they're way
new-
behind.
We have a new town clerk, we have new people in the select board
I
office.
met someone on the town clerk, one of the assistants, seemed very nice.
Yeah,
Very,
they-
very, very accommodating.
That's been my experience as well. So, item E, the Comprehensive Water Management Plan Advisory Group, which we talked about at the last meeting, and I told you that I was invited to participate. I did go to the meeting that took place on May 31st. This was a presentation by the engineers, our sewer engineers, and it's to create a 20-year plan. This is something that's required every 20 years, and the last one was done in 2002, so we're a little bit behind, I think due to COVID primarily. The meeting was in this room, attended by Bernie and Guy and Alan Slavin, myself. 4 people from the DEP were there, 2 on the phone and 2 in person, and 3 of the GHD folks. It was basically just sort of an introduction to what they've done already to start this study that they anticipate will be completed this year, or in a year. The process is a needs assessment, coming up with alternatives, and then recommending what they find to be the most cost-effective. And basically, they're looking at the time frame of 2025 to 2045 as the 20-year period. Looking at things like existing flows, projected growth, projected changes in population and housing, and environmental needs. They've already done a fair amount of work on all of that, but they were sort of testing some of their stuff with input from people in the town, the people who are present, as to how to kind of fine tune that. So that's something they're doing. It's my understanding the meetings will be every 2 months. There are public meetings. There'll be, if anybody's interested, I will continue to attend and report back what I find or learn. They're taking things into account like the MBTA housing requirements. They're looking at the Mass Maritime option, potentially, that sort of thing. So,
Did they throw in Carver and Mattapoisett and?
Yeah,
They-
and regionalization
Marion?
discussion.
we did touch on regionalization, there wasn't, nothing that specific, although they did, there was some indication that Marion and Bourne might be potential, but maybe not. There's a lot of unknowns here, so.
It's encompassed in the whole review that they're doing.
That's right,
Yeah, good.
that's right. So presumably they will be looking at what all the possibilities might be. So that was that. Any
Yeah,
other?
just a question.
Yep.
How involved in the conversation was DEP? Did they ask a lot of
They
questions?
did. I mean, there was a lot of input from DEP, and
Yeah.
obviously they're very important in this
Okay,
process.
I wasn't able to attend. I think I'll listen. Was it
I think it was taped, but
Yeah.
now
I'd
that
be
you
interested
asked
in
that,
what
I'm
the
not sure.
knowing the challenges we've had,
Mhm.
what the DEP's input
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Was there anybody from the Buzzards Bay Coalition?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions on that? Okay, so I also, sort of following up to some things that Tom raised and we discussed at the last meeting, I did meet with Town Administrator Derek 2 weeks ago, and I actually asked him to meet with me once a week, at least for the time being, while I'm learning the job and things are coming up. Obviously, there's a lot coming up between now and the end of the year. That way I can kind of clarify anything I'm having difficulty understanding and hopefully see what's coming down the pike, as I said, what we need to be tuned into. He's been great. I met with him again today, and I'm finding that very, very helpful. So I will continue to do that and to, apprise you all of things. I did send out the April financials that he provided to me. Well, obviously, we're coming up on the end of the fiscal year. He anticipates in the next 60 to 90 days having an end-of-year report. It will be unaudited, but that he can share with us. And I asked, would he come in and talk to us when that happens and just go through it with us?
No,
So
Norman, unless I missed it, there was no revenue on the report, it was just expenses.
you may be right about the April report.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, expenditures.
Unless,
right.
and,
yeah.
but an end-of-year report will be more comprehensive and, again, unaudited, but I think it's helpful not to wait until January or February before April town meeting to know kind of where things are.
Yeah, I'm looking at like the original budget, and in some cases, it's,
The biggest thing you need to do
Significantly
is to have a plan for doing next year's budget.
So that's,
Within the first quarter.
so that's what I'm shooting for. And my feeling is that he will be forthcoming on all of this stuff as we, and if we have follow-up questions or need more information, I don't think we're gonna have any trouble getting that. Let's see. So the next item on the agenda is liaisons, as again came up at last meeting. I didn't know we had liaisons until you all told me. So from Bernie, I got a chart that lists, I guess, what has been used in the past. And maybe someone can kind of tell me how this has been done in the past, because I actually don't know in this, for this committee.
Basically, people picked what they wanted, they had interest in, and then what no one picked.
Went into a jar.
Got
and all
assigned.
through it.
Bernie, yeah,
Okay.
Bernie kinda you know.
Voluntold?
Yeah,
Voluntold, yes.
volunteer,
Well, I'm
but
told, I think
a
last
lot,
time we
a
did,
lot of them that are on there,
aren't even in existence
not
anymore.
that,
That's-
really no activity, there's a few. Good
Yeah.
police, municipal maintenance, you know, there are some that are important and some that actually count on you, like when I was doing it for the police, you know, before the chief came for his budget and stuff, you know, he called me in, you know,
Okay.
he wanted to talk about it. So there are some that are more important, Norma, than others.
That was my, sort of my call on this, and
So,
I
I don't think-
highlighted some of them.
Yeah, I don't think any one person should take more of the important ones, you know, I
Right.
think everyone should like get a real important one and then the rest do whatever you want, that's just my personal opinion.
I think that's smart. So, once you are a liaison, you're not gonna report back every time we meet. Is there a time frame that you've done this in the past?
It's usually, there's a item on the agenda, liaison reports.
Okay,
and
and just
if-
whoever
or
has-
If you're a
Something-
liaison and you think you have something to say about what went on,
Yeah.
Okay.
then you.
Yeah, if something turns up and you got some information, you just bring it to the board.
There was a meeting that was important or
Yeah,
something?
Yeah.
there's
So-
nothing that's in stone, Norma, about reporting.
Okay.
That's
And
what
if-
you're looking for.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking that if you are a liaison, it's your responsibility to know when your committee or board posts an agenda, to at least take a look at the agenda. If there's anything that seems important from our standpoint, maybe at least watching the tape or attending the
I
meeting.
mean, you can speak to the chairman of whatever committee or,
That's true,
and they can email you a copy of their agenda.
right.
But some of them might not have a committee. I use
Right,
the
some
police
don't
for an
have, some
example.
don't have committees,
So you,
but
so you
some
might
do.
just go and introduce yourself to the chief, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
you have to do
No,
this,
no.
but introduce yourself.
Yep.
And say, you know, if you got any problems or issues, anything you want me to bring up in front of the finance committee,
Right.
Right,
give me a call. You know,
Yeah.
on maintenance, Town
Municipal maintenance,
municipal
and the
maintenance.
police, as far as I'm concerned, like.
same,
the
same
two
idea,
biggest-
you know?
Yeah.
'Cause and I know I was the liaison for the council on aging, and I went to the meeting and they wanna know, why are you here?
Right.
You
You
know,
took
which
it
is
more
okay.
serious than anyone before you had taken it, Jody,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why.
Well, like, whatever, but I just thought it was
It's a good thing, yeah.
funny, you know, and I said, I'm just here to listen and see what's going on, no big deal.
I
Right.
think,
no one's in trouble.
No threat.
Yeah, yeah.
no
You're getting
threat.
ready to join, right?
I think with the liaisons, I think we should wait till we reorganize
Yeah,
to do the
That's-
liaison.
That's probably a good idea. And the reorganization will need to happen after July 1st. Probably, if we do have a meeting July 12th, that's when it would be.
Okay, sounds like a.
Does that sound right to you? Okay.
Norma, would you mind, you wanna maybe circulate that
I will
list?
do
so
that.
People can look at
Tentatively.
it? Yeah.
Tentatively for me, I'll see what happens. I get jury duty on the 7th. Last time I did, I sat for 3 days, so.
Yeah. I have jury duty, actually, that reminds me, I think I just may have booked a trip that conflicts with my jury duty assignment. I guess I can get a,
Jury duty's the easiest thing in
I
the
know,
world to get out of.
I know. Listen,
oh, we're not all.
I thought the same thing, and I got sat for 3 days, so.
yeah, well, I'm happy to
When
do
I
it.
told him I'm not prejudiced, I hate everybody, the guy said, you're dismissed.
I've been the foreperson of 2 juries in DC, so.
I know, used to be a lawyer,
Yeah.
now it's like, come on.
No, you can't exclude the lawyers in DC. You wouldn't have anybody.
Say you're prejudiced, that's all.
So, I will circulate this. I think we should maybe come up with a few just very basic guidelines for what's expected, so just everyone knows going forward what we will do.
And just so I'm aware, the role of liaison is really to attend the meetings, if they so choose, to gather information, but certainly you're not part of the committee, you're not.
No.
No.
You're just.
You're not running
You're there on behalf of the
anything.
finance committee, listening.
Eyes and ears.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
my 2 cents, the times that were important to, I've done municipal maintenance and the police. And before they, you know, come before the budget, that is when they always called upon you to tell you, we really need this, we really need that, we really need this, can you push for this, can you push for that? Those were the only real important times that I found for those 2 agencies.
Okay.
I know where I came from, the finance committee put subcommittees together, and the subcommittees went around, you might have 5 different departments, for an example.
Yeah.
And you'd sit down with the department heads and gather all the information. What's important to them might not be important to the whole body, who knows?
Correct.
Right.
And that type of thing. I mean, I didn't like the system, especially as a department head, but, as a finance committee member, I didn't mind. But, yeah, it was different. I don't think it was necessary, but I think it's important. You get eyes and ears there, and if the police has, we really need tasers, whatever, I'm just
Right,
throwing
maybe
things
I
out there.
told them, put your 1, 2, 3, what's
Yeah.
the most important, it was just information like that, that's all.
And you kind of piggybacking on some of the stuff Tom always looked for, and I totally agree with what he was
Numbers.
looking for. So if you were the liaison with the maintenance, say, you know what, we wanna know what the mileage is, we wanna know the year of this, and, the background of a piece of equipment. For lack
The
of
value
better
of
words.
junking it, yeah, that's.
How you junking it, whatever.
Well, real
Yeah.
important stuff.
Yeah, there's a,
You're really trying to help the manager manage.
you're not there
I mean,
as a,
they haven't been to some of the places that they had the experience, and so it's new to them, and it
Yeah.
just gets them to think.
yeah, I mean, it's never a confrontational thing, it's just a
Yeah.
information gathering thing, nothing more, nothing less. You're not telling them how to run this department.
No, right.
You need a new dump truck, well, how old is the one you're getting rid of? Are you getting rid of it? That type of thing, what's the mileage on it?
Well,
What
I mean,
options
they
have
should
you
have a
explored?
capital plan,
Yeah.
Well,
period.
All right, so, were you trying to say something about your availability?
No.
You're not sure, okay.
No,
So-
we're gonna
so-
leave everything where it says.
Okay,
July
so,
12th is a
July-
definite maybe.
a definite maybe, that's
Well,
right,
next Wednesday's a definite, and July 12th's a maybe.
that's right. And so what I'll do is I will send this out, everybody give some thought to what you think maybe is a good focus for yourself.
Is there anyone who's liaison now on one of these groups that would really wants to stay as a liaison? I don't wanna.
Has anybody been acting as a liaison lately?
Well, we'll discuss that when it comes to reorg,
Okay.
rather than, because we're not assigning them right now, so there's no need
Right.
to.
Right.
Okay.
And
I
hopefully
think
we
she
have
may
a
be
full
trying not
board.
to step on anybody's toes.
And
Yeah,
I don't
someone
think,
has
I don't
one
think
on
anyone's
this.
really gonna care,
Yeah,
it's just gonna be,
I like doing the police, that's all.
Yeah.
well, I think what we may end up doing is ranking your choices. We'll do ranked choice voting, and just do the best we
That's a
can
good
with that,
idea.
something like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's if it's up to me, which it may not be. So, and yes, I mean, we do have reorganization coming up, so I guess somebody wants the job.
Stop smiling, you already got the most,
Yeah, step back.
I don't know.
if you want.
All right, so that's really everything that I have on the agenda. And this has been record time, so,
Can I just,
Yeah.
couple
Yeah,
quick
yeah.
things. Yeah, I'm glad Derek's gone, I don't want him to get a big head. People don't realize how, when you look at these things, and I'm gonna go back to the town I came from, and I was a department head and sat on the finance committee. And when I left Stoughton, they asked me why, and I said, there were a lot of reasons why, but this town's headed for disaster. And since I've left, I've had I've only been gone 6 years, I've had 3 different town managers. So when I look at Derek and being here and the stability that he brings to this town, this guy telling these guys before the meeting, there's been 2 overrides since I left Stoughton, to get the 3rd one teed up. Their water sewer enterprise accounts are $2.1 million short. Their trash enterprise account, 800,000 short. So their rates are, I know how, but I'm just saying. So
It's how that happened,
looking at
Well,
these things, I'll tell you afterwards, but, looking at these things, it's important that new people coming in, and I know one of them, experience is a good thing, and not having experience can be a good thing too, because you're coming in,
Learning process.
learning
is right,
process,
yeah.
and
Ask the questions.
what's important, and ask the questions. And I was telling my wife this before I left, I was watching something, if you think it's right, it's right. It doesn't matter what Jody thinks or Norma thinks, if you think it's right, then that's what you go with, it's not personal, it's nothing else. And my second point is, and I talked to, and this is after we reorganized, a couple of things, and I knew Bernie and I came from the same town. A couple of things I'd like to see, and I know that there's good and bad, and I discussed this with Norma. I really don't understand why we don't have public hearings when we do articles. The public never has a chance to go in front of the selectmen and speak on an article. I know Bernie was always very good about letting people speak.
Before town meeting.
Before
you said.
town meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the more information you can gather, and somebody can come in and say, well, I don't like this for this reason, and they might make sense.
But, in their defense, our meetings are open to the public.
But they're not open per se to speak.
I think,
We've never stopped anybody.
That's- We,
But
yes, but I think,
Okay.
I think the way you deal with that is on the agenda saying,
Making the
make
overture.
it just a public comment,
Yeah.
a provision for public
And
comment.
and I'm not saying for the
If
whole
any.
meeting, I mean, they don't need to sit here and discuss liaisons per
Right,
se.
right.
But when we have sewer articles, say, you know, these articles will be open to public comment at the discretion of the chairman,
Yeah,
chair.
which is probably a good thing to put.
And I'm sure there's
Somebody
more
has to be-
technical language
somebody
that
has
can
to
go
be in
along with it.
control, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta take the good and the bad. Somebody can come in here as a very angry person too, but I don't see that happening. I don't see a lot of people showing up.
Yeah.
But I would like to see the public have the opportunity to come in
Absolutely.
and speak.
I wanna
And-
hear-
And on the record, I know
Yeah.
Bernie was always excellent about letting people speak, and I
Right.
thought it was always a good thing.
Everyone
I
before
wanna
that,
hear,
too.
But
I wanna
just-
hear from people next week. I wanna hear from people during the presentation next week.
Yeah, but I just thought we put on the agenda, you know, for the articles, you know, but again, going by the chair, there might be something else on an agenda that feels really important, that it might influence the public one way or the other, I mean, who knows? But I just,
Furthers the whole idea of transparency.
and that's what all it comes down to is
Yeah.
transparency,
Yeah,
you know,
there is some feeling in the town that, whether true or not, that there's not enough transparency.
because I was,
Yeah.
you know, and I was in shock when I came down here and got on here that they weren't public hearings. I says, wow, how come? You know, but, you know, everything's a little bit of a learning experience, and I just think that it's something to think about, you know, it's something, you know, you guys may all think, oh, shut him up, you know, it's a bad idea. But I just think the more information we can gather
And hear from people,
and hear from people.
and hear different perspectives on articles.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's reasonable.
And I
Yeah,
thought putting it on the
absolutely.
agenda, you don't have to advertise it and all that stuff, like you do a real public hearing, well, you know, if you're building something,
Right.
go in front of them.
Our
I
role
mean,
is different,
Our
but,
role is
but I
totally
do,
different.
I do think the more information we can get, the better. All right, anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Not debatable. All in favor?
Aye, aye.
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 Jody,
See you next week.
they found they were.